Okay, so Be'ezras Hashem, we are continuing with the weekly Zohar Shir, where we try and illuminate the light of the Zohar through the current orientation towards the time in light with living with the times of the Torah HaKadoshah. So what we're going to focus on, ultimately, one of the frameworks of Parshas Vayeishev is the darkness. It's a Parsha Stuma to a certain degree that descends upon the narrative in order for the emergence of a new light to come out even more clearly. This is the descent of Yosef HaTzadik into Mitzrayim. It's the preparation of Galus that is a necessity in the movement towards redemption. And it is the dark kalim that are necessary for the sake of illuminating them with the oil, the Shaman Mishras Chodesh of Neros Hanukkah. And so in the Zohar Kadosh, we're also going to encounter that at the heart of Parshas Vayeishev is also Bikesh Yaakov Leishev B'Shalva, that Yaakov Avinu, ultimately after all of the Birurim, wants to orient himself towards Menucha, to Shalva, towards comfort, towards calmness in the Welt. And Miad Kutza Lav Rugza Yosef. And immediately, Chazal tell us that HaKadosh Baruch Hu allows the rageful experience of Yosef HaTzadik to pounce upon him, to kind of disrupt any attempt to find calmness. And B'derech Klal, at first glance, this seems to be a negative orientation. HaKadosh Baruch Hu sees this request of the Tzaddik Emes to want Menucha and Shalva, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, no, you can't have it. Adarabba, here's more Tsar, v'chulei v'chulei, chas v'shalom lachshov kazeh. But in truth, what's happening is as follows, that there's a certain secret of Shalva, there's a certain secret of calmness, and Menucha Kitoiv, and Or, and Simcha, and Emunah, and Bitachon that could only come about through one's encounter with concealment, through the way that a person learns to confront the concealment itself. So what Yaakov Avinu was perhaps describing was his desire to have true Shalva, the true secret of Shleimus Adas and Ishtavus, Bein L'Toiv, Bein L'Ra, L'Mala L'Mata B'Vasachas, and the secret of Gam Choshech Lo Yashkech Mimcha, and that everything is equally expressive of the infinitude of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and that's the secret of Shalva. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu says, okay, if you want Shalva, I'm going to really have to give you the farthest place where it's going to be most difficult to find Shalva, so that when you find it there also, you'll fully have uncovered the true secret that Shalva can be found anywhere. So the request of, I really want to understand the secret of Shalva, was met with, okay, if that's the case, then here's the most difficult task to overcome in order to find Shalva, which is the Rugza de Yosef, which is the secret of the difficulty that Yaakov Avinu is forced to confront, and in order to live through it, has to uncover the secret of calmness at the heart of the difficulty. And this is the process of Hanukkah. This is the process of Yeridas HaYosef to the bore of the exile of the Tzaddik Yisod Olam, of the concealment of that Or Kitov into the Or Haganuz, and that darkening space of that apparent departure of the Rosh Bayis from the Olam. In truth, it's only there to kindle the deeper light that comes out of Mitzrayim, and it's Mitzrayim Pidisanu, that I've been redeemed from a house of Mitzrayim. I've been redeemed from the darkness and the darkening territory of this space in order to come out with a deeper shine, a kaflayim l'toshia. So the Zohar Kadosh is describing the nature of this process of orienting towards the concealment, to the chisaron, to the miyat halavana, to the blemish of the moon, to the deficiency of the moon, which represents all difficulty and concealment. Rabbi Shimon opens up and he says, so it's the warning against the Baal Mum, someone who's deficient, someone who has a deficiency, from entering into the Beis HaMikdash and causing some element of profanation, which is an emptiness as well. Halal and Mum are ultimately two parts of the same expression of an apparent absence. Something is not present, and it can't enter into the Beis HaMikdash, because that notion at first glance seems to defile the Beis HaMikdash, because we assume the Beis HaMikdash to represent the fullness of Avodah, the Shleimus of Avodah, of a Shleimus of Yerushalayim, and we assume that the Yira and the Chisaron is going to be the hepech of that, but ultimately we're going to see how the Avodah of Yerushalayim comes about through the Chisaron itself, which is the secret of Shalom and Chatzi, like Rav Avram Abulafia discussed, that we need both the fullness as well as the apparent deficiency to make the fullness even more powerful. The person, the pasuk, the Baal Mum, should not cross over the boundary, should not cross over the curtain that blocks entry. It's the seemingly reorientation towards the fact that there are divisions, there are separations, and if you don't have, then you're not able to access in. It's rooted in kind of the hierarchy of having and not having, of chisaron and shleimus. Ta'chazi, come and see Bahahisha, said the Hahuna. Hear the nugget vinofik, afik kolin and nishmasin visavaris nukva. That come and understand that when that river, that Or of Yesoid, was flowing and it was emerging into the world. What emerged from it were all of those souls that found their place and found their receptivity, and all of them stood in the right place. The goy kutra, the goy besitu kutra. They were protected in all matters of protection. Aval kad sihara is pagim, but when the levana has its pagam, when there's a miyata levana, when lack interrupts itself and places itself within the world. It's that side of the nachash, of that brazenous snake, that entryway of the Yetzer Hara, that fact that hein ba'avin chalalti, that to be a human being is to be like the levana, which has a miyut to itself, and that's the secret of being a human being. It's the decision to live with that. As the tzaddikim say, the moon has to accept upon itself the willingness to live as a deficient creature for the sake of revealing HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and that is the entry point into the world of the snake, into the world of Chet, into the world of Chisaron and Gvul and limitation. Kedein kol ina nishmasin denafkin, afagav dekulu dochin v'kula kedishin hoyel v'naflu bebekimu b'choyel inan asrei dematu inan nishmasin kula isbaru v'ispagimu b'kamet seirin. And these neshamos, these heilige revelations of godliness, this heilige expression of more light, more hasag in the world that comes out during the shlita, during the time that the pagam of the sihara, the lack of the moon, the deficiency of the moon, the absence at the core of things is prevalent, and it's rooted there, even though the ore that comes out is holy and the neshamas that come out are holy. Nevertheless, because they are emergent in this time of deficiency, everywhere they go, every place they walk, they're going to be experiencing bekamet sa'arin, very difficult circumstances, a tsar of the mind, an intensity of the mind, bekamet ke'evin, certain discomforts and pains, ve'ilin inun, and these souls, nishmasin the asrin the pegimu, they come from that place of the deficiency, the asre b'hu kadshu that HaKadosh Baruch Hu related to in a backhanded way after they were created. And even though these souls find themselves in a state of sadness, God forbid, and not in a state of joy, in truth, there is a deep secret that rests upon these individuals who orient themselves towards this deficiency. And just as the body below can have a deficiency and it reflects a deficiency above, so too a deficiency above can be reflected in the neshama below. We begin kach ilan de ba'anin lechaduse bechaduse de sahara. And it's for this reason that they're soivel, that they engage with the difficulty of the miyat halavana. They stand at the ready as well to be renewed and to experience the secret of renewal with the renewal of the moon in the future. Va'al ilan ksiv, and it's with regards to these souls that it's written each month when the sihara, when the moon is at its most deficient, Shabbos b'Shabso yavel kol basar l'fanei Hashem, that it's here once a month that these souls who are soivel the difficulty of the miyat halavana, that they're also going to experience the closeness that they can have to HaKadosh Baruch Hu through this. Called basar. Basar represents the busha, the shiftless, and the rima v'taila'a, as the tzaddikim point out. It represents the chisaron, maybe basari echazeh, from that deficiency of the self, from the secret of the mum. Called basar vade ilan inan yistachasun b'kula. These are the souls that are going to have renewal. These are the souls that are going to come out of the darkness to reveal an even more halig level of light. Inan lechadedusa bechadedusasa the tehara, and that they stand at the ready to be renewed and recreated with the recreation and the renewal of the moon. Ilan inun b'shutfusa chad b'sihara pegimin bahahu pegima delay. And these souls that are empathic towards the suffering of the Shekhinah, towards the deficiency in reality, they are also partners with that deficiency, and they feel the tsar of that deficiency. Ubegin kach ihisharya bigavaihu tadir. And it's for that reason that the Shrinta Kadisha, the secret of Chisaron and Mitzias, the Hasaga of Chisaron as a Gilui of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, is accessed specifically by these people, like the Mittler Rebbe spoke about, and like all the tzaddikim spoke about, of the secret of Libo Doig B'Kirbo as a prerequisite to benefiting properly from the secrets of Torah, from the healing waters of Torah. That the Shekhinah HaKadosha in its woundedness is present with these wounded souls at all times, and it doesn't leave them. Amart ve'ezdacha v'shafal ruach ve'ezdacha. Dacha is Rosha is Gematria Dalet Chuf Aleph is 25. It's a secret of Hanukkah where the darkness kind of gives birth to a deeper expression of life. That with these neshamos, the tzabrachan and neshamos that are memarmer, the mari the chushbina, who look in themselves and are aware of the fact that I need to be mishtoikek to the Rabbanu Shlalem, and nafshi chiksa laHashem lahadik ner Hanukkah, the secret of Ga'aguim and yearning to do tshuva in every second second, which is the secret of Hanukkah, which is the completion of the tshuva of Yom Kippurim, of the secret of Tahara, of the Chsiv, Karuf Hashem L'Nishbarei Leiv, as it's written that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is specifically close to those who have the broken heart, who have that mum. Le'inun desavle im sihara, to those who suffer, those who struggle with the diminishment of the moon, hahu pegimu, with regards to that particular deficiency in general, inun krivin la tadir, they're always close to their Rabbanu Shalom, v'alda lahachyos lev nidachim, and it's the secret of HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants to come and give life to the hearts of the broken-hearted ones. Be'inan chayim de'isyayin leil ischadasi yahain l'chulkeihain zacha chulkeihain, to those who stand at the ready to be renewed with the moon. Inun desavle imei, those who struggled, those who were willing to bear the burden of it, the svilus, to have the patience of it. Yischas desun imei, are going to have the renewal of it. V'ilan ikrin yisurin shel ava, and this is the secret of the intensity and the tsar, the kedusha that a person feels in the movement towards connectivity. Shel ahava inun, these are yisurin of ava, v'lav minya mehahu banash, and it has nothing to do with anything other than that. Shel ahava inun ispagim nuhura shel ahava zuta v'ischadya me'ahava rabba. This is the secret of the fallen nature of Avazuta that emerges and brings a person closer to Ahavarabba. The secret of Hanukkah, the secret of Vayeishev, of Bikesh Yaakov Leishev B'Shalvas, the Metzias that the tzaddikim are willing to go down into the secret of the Katisha Sazayas, into the preparation of the olive and the crushing of the olive, which is the secret of Bittul B'Metzias, where a person comes to more levels of shiftless over and over, of Katanti Mikol Chasadim, and a person realizes that they're nothing but the olive that's being crushed, in order to reveal the light of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, in order to get out of the way, to allow the ego to move away ever so slightly, to allow the self to be illuminated, as the nefesh is a ner, a psila, and a shemen, and it takes Vayeishev Yaakov, that this return towards the secret of Yaakov, towards the Shoresh HaElyon of Yaakov, in order to experience the deepest sense of unity. And in that place, there's still a memory of Yaakov. There's still a memory of the Katnas. Yisrael is a name that contains the ups and the downs within it. It's the return back for the Pachim Ktanim, back into the darkness, to the fight with Esav, to retrieve the vessels that are necessary. The secret of the Pegimud, the Sihara, the blemish of the moon, which is just Megala, the Nekuda of Chisaron, which is not a deficiency because we lost something, but a deficiency because we're creatures. And it's that Chisaron and that deficiency that gives birth to motivation and yearning, and a Mayim Nukvin, and a Hisairis, and a Ga'aguim, and a desire, and Hakarsa Chisaron, which is the Sharish of Tefillah, and the secret of Hava Halaluka, and Haneros Halalu, and the song that ascends from the Neros themselves, and the secret of the Hodah that comes about specifically from the Tzara itself. And this is the secret of Eis Tzar Hiliakov Mimena Yivashea. The Eis Tzar is the Choshech, it's the Katisha Sazayas, it's the willingness to not find Shalva, and it's specifically there in the entrance into the deficiency of the moon that the Hischadshus is going to come from afterwards. We saw that a Baal Mum is not meant to enter into the Beis HaMikdash, but in truth, Mum, Mem, Vav, Mem is Gematria 86, is the secret of Elohim, which represents the necessity of including the Kalim and the concealment within the unity of Havaya Elohim, to be Megala, the secret of Ma'avor Yavok, the secret of Yichud Bracha and Kedusha, connecting above and below in one, the deficiency and the shleimush, the shalim and the chatzi, which is the secret of Yaakov and Yisrael, which is the secret of Yaakov and Yosef, the hamshacha from lamala to lamata, and from lamata back upwards. And it's this secret of mum, which is in truth the last name of the Shem Ayin Beis, the Shem Ayin Beis, which is associated with Kriyas Yamsef, which is also the secret of a yichud bisman hakatnus, and the hiskalis of the or shel geula, specifically from within the deficiency of the moon, the yichud of the kav from within the tzimtzum itself, and the last name of the Shem Ayin Beis, the last three-letter permutation of those 72 three-letter permutations, which spell out the 216 letters of the Shem Ayin Beis, is the Osios Mem Vav Men, as the Rebbe points out, because when a person comes to the tachlis of the Shem Ayin Beis, which is the Hasag of Shleimus, and a person feels that they've reached everything, they have to continue to remember that they're still a Baal Mum. They still have this recognition of Kedushasi L'malim Kedusha, which allows for the oil of the self, as Rabbi Nachman describes, to be illuminated with the ore that comes from above, and the Hakar of the Hischadshus Hatamidus. And this secret of the Mum is the secret that the Ishbitzer Tzadikim refer to as that La'asid Lavo B'mumim Yivra'u. When there's Tchias HaMesim, they're going to come back specifically with the blemishes that they experienced in the world previous to this, because it's the deficiencies themselves that are necessary to the very fabric and the mark of our own most subjectivity. Because if we weren't born with those mumim, with that Nekuda of Chisaron, which is the makom of the Hishtoikukus and the Malas Haman, and the recognition that Rabbanu Shalom, if I don't have you, I'm not going to live another second, that brings HaKadosh Baruch Hu down into our life, that's what marks our identity. subjectivity. That is the deepest expression of our subjectivity, the way in which we deal with the pagima of the Levana, the way that we deal with that miut. When HaKadosh Baruch Hu says to Nishmas Yisrael, Leichu ma'ati et atzmech, make yourself smaller. It's hard. The bittul is difficult. But when a person learns how to make themselves smaller, they prepare to be bigger in the aspect of Zeh Katan Gadol Yihiyah, the secret of the tiny Pach Shemen, which is the Katan, which is koil all of the godless imaginable. It's the irreducible source that, in spite of how minimal it is, it continues to give birth to more. And this is the secret of B'mumim Yivra'u, so that we recognize that it's the mum itself. It's how we dealt with the Shem Elohim, with the Sihara, which brings us into direct contact with the Shechina here and now. When a person is soivel in this world in the most delicate of ways, with the Amunah, with the struggle, with the Hishtoikukus towards that which is not yet present, a person at that point is entering into the Bnei Hechala Kadisha, Bnei Hechala Dechsifin, that are yearning for the secret of Nafshi Chiksala Hashem, of the Nachal Ha'elyon, of the Nachal Neveim Kor Chachma, of the secret of the Hagel Chanukah. And Be'ezras Hashem, we should be Zoichet to be Mechake and to have the Savlanas to identify with the Miyut HaLevana, so that we can engage with the presence and the joy that comes about with the fulfillment of the Levana, which is taking place at the very same moment of the Miyut HaLevana, and the secret of Shalim V'chatzi B'vasachas Be'ezras Hashem.